connect the world, you know?
No.
Hello, and welcome to Outside the Fox, where we explore what's happening online and why it matters. My name's AJ Patel.
And I'm Kim Horcher. Digital detoxes are on the rise. We previously had another episode where we talked about reducing screen time and different ways you can make that happen. I previously said I didn't want to, but some people do need to look at their screens for work.
Right, so how do we kind of cut back on our screen time while still keeping that same level of productivity from the day to day? Have you found any luck in doing that?
I've actually reduced my social media time a
Okay,
lot because I found it was making me unhappy.
Okay.
You ever just scroll and scroll and go, oh, why am I sad? And then you realize you did it.
I just need some sunlight now and then.
Yeah.
I just need to get off the screen, go see the birds, and then just come back inside. And it's like, okay, you know what? It was like I got caught up in this momentum of scrolling. So I'm still working on it myself.
You touching grass?
Now and then.
You gotta touch that grass, man. Well, we have our ideas of what digital detoxes are and how to do them. Maybe they're not the best, so we're gonna have to call in an expert. We are bringing him back. Our friend, your friend, it's Steve Flavin.
What's up, everyone? I don't know if I would call myself an expert, but I definitely have a lot of opinions about this, and I can't wait to impose them on everyone. So,
Yeah, we previously talked about screen time before, but why do you think digital detoxes are gaining popularity?
yeah, I mean, for one thing, we talked about New Year's resolutions, right? Our tech resolutions, and mine was that I wasn't going to care about screen time, and I'm still of that opinion. I think that it's less about screen time and more about how you're spending your time. You alluded to social media. Watching a movie or having a FaceTime with a family member is different than getting sucked into a doom scroll vortex, right? I have heard from a lot of friends and colleagues who are really getting burned out on social media in particular. I think it's not new and fun anymore. It's become this sort of almost like obligation or expectation that you're just on it. I myself have been consciously trying to reduce my social media consumption, and then also just the number of devices that I have. And I'm not as concerned about screen time as I am about, do I really need a smartwatch or like a phone and a laptop and an iPad all together? It's
No, I agree. I do think these digital devices do help with productivity. They do help with getting things done faster, getting things done, but it's so easy to fall into this loop where as soon as you see that notification come, whether it's messages, maybe it's something on Instagram, and then you're there for an hour. And then it's like, oh, snap.
I turned off almost all my push notifications.
What was I even doing online in the first place? Do you have any signs that you can share with us where it's more of like, okay, this is how digital fatigue presents itself?
Honestly, I think, Kim, you hit the nail on the head. The number one thing that you can do to reduce digital fatigue is to turn off your notifications. I recommend literally turning all of them off. I have a few select apps that I allow notification privileges. One of them is literally my phone app and like messages app. There are also ways, on both iPhone and Android that you can screen calls from numbers that you don't recognize. I personally have that turned off because sometimes I've missed important calls of people whose numbers I don't necessarily have saved. So it's not exactly a foolproof solution, but if you want to be really militant and on top of it, that's certainly one thing that you can do. But yeah, I have a lot of friends actually that I'm kind of aghast at their allowance of every single notification that they're swatting away during just like a face-to-face conversation or we'll be at lunch or something, and it's like, why don't you like turn your phone over or just like put it on do not disturb. I mean, that is one of my favorite features actually, is like literally I have it on right now, do not disturb. Like I am not to be spoken to. Like leave me alone. I'll call you, don't call me.
To piggyback off that do not disturb pieces, in that focus kind of setting that you can turn on, you can actually select certain people that you can allow notifications to come from. And I found that very helpful. I don't know if if it's just like a normal thing now.
It is. I mean, certainly you can do that. I personally choose not to have any go through because I think it's nice to have the quiet time. Obviously, and you know, those of us who work in video production have this where it's like when we're on set, like I don't care if it's is my mom or who, an important person, like I just can't, like I can't answer my phone right now, right? It's like we're busy.
We're wasting film. Come on, come on, mom.
But yeah, I mean, those are just in terms of like the sheer simplicity of turning off your notifications or limiting the people who can contact you. Apps are like they're so needy sometimes. It's like sometimes I'll install something and I'll have notifications on and I forgot to turn them off, and then it'll notify me like 25% off, and it's like, why did you I know why, is because they're trying to create revenue, but it's just so annoying and unwelcome. And I don't know how it is on Android, but on iOS I believe you now have to opt in to turning on notifications. I don't think that they're on by default. So I always, whenever I'm installing a new app, I always make sure to to turn off or to leave them off, and B to only set the location to while using the app. You never want your app, except in rare circumstances, to track you when you're not using the app, because that's a little sketch. They don't need that data. Apps stay out of my DMs.
I've always heard the praise of like having a smartwatch where it's like, oh, I don't have to carry my phone because I have. Yeah. So do you find yourself on a digital device more or less since you've had that?
I use the watch more.
Oh, okay.
I'll be like, text mom, what's up?
But I guess like, are you finding yourself, but you're not getting into like this doom loop of scrolling or going down these rabbit holes. You're kind of just quick and to the point and then on to the next thing.
Well, I mean, I can't do it on my watch.
Yeah. So I guess that's the plus.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always found that kind of like the watch is like, it starts that buzz and then I go for my phone and then I'm on my phone.
Well, you can put your watch on Do Not Disturb too, which I did.
See, I guess I'm lacking the discipline for that type of detox.
For me personally, I used to have an Apple Watch. It's a lovely device. I found that I turned off all the notifications and like I don't really care that much about like the health tracking and the this and that. And I turned everything off, and it's basically just like a dumb watch when you turn off everything. And it was kind of like, so why am I charging this every night? Like why am I wearing this? It's kind of cool that you could do Apple Pay and that you can control your music or whatever. But it's like if my phone's in my hand anyway. It's just, for me, it's like one extra device, and I personally, the phantom vibrate scenario that some people get, I would get the phantom taps on my wrist of like thinking that my watch was notifying me and I'm not wearing my watch.
You never get that?
No, I'm normal.
Kim's never had that.
Maybe I just have a certain kind of anxiety that.
I definitely know how you feel when it comes to that. Like, oh, okay, it's this muscle motion of like, okay, I need to pull my phone out. I need to check for notifications. That's why even a lot of people frown, even if you put it face down at the dinner table. Like, like let's say you and I are hanging out and I put it face down. It's like, why do you even have your device out in the first place? When I'm working, what's helped me is kind of just putting it in almost a different room. And if I hear it ring, then okay, maybe that's important. Then I'll go over there. But for anything else, I just kind of leave it. Have you done anything similar like that?
I usually carry a small bag with me, and I like to put my phone in my bag. And I find that, even if it's in my pocket, it's like I could feel it vibrate, and it's still a little bit of a distraction. Or I'm like, kind of feeling down there to make sure that my phone is still, like with me and present. Whereas, like if it's in a separate bag, you can kind of feel the weight of it, and you have that reassurance, like, okay, I didn't lose my phone.
Well, I was wondering, do you have any ideas for tools or maybe different extensions you can use to be more purposeful and mindful when you're browsing instead of just mindlessly scrolling forever?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with Firefox, we have a built-in feature called Reader View that's really handy. And so when you're on a website that supports it, usually it's like news or media websites, and you look in the address bar, you'll see a little icon that indicates Reader View, and you click on it and it'll remove all the ads and distractions. It'll just be the content that you're wanting to read. We have a product called Pocket, which is a news app and allows you to save articles to read later. If you have the iPhone app, you can have it automatically download those articles, and then you can read them offline, which is a nice way of you're curating your own reading list, and then it's also kind of an ad-free, clutter-free, distraction-free environment where you're able to just go in and read these articles that you found.
For me, I think the thing that has helped the most is just staying busy with something. Like, if you're engaged with someone, if you're playing a sport, playing a board game, something that's, even if it is a video game with someone where you're not kind of just, your mind isn't really working or doing anything or engaged with anyone, I feel like that's helped me the most in kind of being separated from a digital device. And it's weird that when I get back to a digital device, I find myself like proud of myself, but also like shocked that, oh my gosh, I didn't check this for, like a couple of hours. And like, why do I have this feeling of like attachment? Like, oh, it's like a child I didn't check on for a couple of hours. Like, I feel bad almost.
It is funny though, where it's like, I do feel this sense of pride, like, oh, I didn't check Instagram for 3 whole hours. And I don't know, it's like,
it's a weird pat on the back.
15 years ago, like that would have been like such an absurd thing to like we would have had no concept of that. And so it is kind of funny how we've reframed everything. On that note, I do have another tip, which again, I'm an iOS user, so I'm not as familiar with Android. But there's a feature where you can hide your apps or set them so that they only open with Face ID, and what that does is it puts them in a hidden folder. And I've done that with a few key social apps like Instagram and TikTok, and I find that it really does work, and it keeps me from spontaneously using those apps.
So you're talking a lot about removing the temptation and just getting it out of sight, out of mind. Would you ever do a digital detox retreat?
It's funny you should mention that, because I actually do have an anecdote. I didn't go on an actual retreat. A few years ago, I got a couple friends of mine got married, and they had a summer camp wedding. It was a wedding at the summer camp where they met as kids. It's adorable story. I hate camping, but they invited me to this summer camp, which was like 3 days of like camping in a summer camp, and there was going to be no electricity and no internet. And I'm like, normally that sounds miserable, but I love these people. So, and I knew some people who were going, and I'm like, okay, like when else am I going to get outside of my comfort zone and do this? But by the second or third day, it was actually kind of refreshing to not have that connectivity, and it basically forced us to, there were like 150 people there. It was, kind of had the effect perhaps of a specific detox retreat, even though that wasn't necessarily the goal.
Would you do it?
I've been camping before, and there's no reception when you're in the mountains.
Right.
So it just happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think you'd be able to do it with people you did not know?
No. Why would I be hanging out with them?
Connect the world,
No.
Because I do find it easier when you're with friends where it's like, okay, I wasn't on my phone. Whereas like if you're in the waiting room or something and you're on your phone and someone talks to you and it's like, oh, why does that person talk to me? But it's like, oh, this person's being completely normal.
Don't talk to me.
No? Okay. Don't talk to Kim if you see her in the waiting room. Are there any other tips that you had as far as kind of if you find yourself having this burnout of
Or
digital
compulsiveness
fatigue?
even.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of times it's identified when you're not getting other things done in your life. So productivity kind of drops. Do you have any other tips for the listeners and even ourselves where you've done certain things that has proved successful?
Something that I consciously try to do within reason, I work from home, so I spend a lot of time on Zoom. The camera fatigue is real, right? Like there's a certain exhaustion that comes with constantly being on camera all the time. But I do find that from time to time, with both colleagues and my family, I'll default more to phone calls, just an audio call. Where, I mean, it's technically on the same device, right? It's on my phone that I use. It's the same phone that I use for FaceTime or, to scroll social media. But, there's something kind of refreshing and old school about just not having to be on. So I think, yeah, I mean, just looking for opportunities like that, or when I reach out to someone and I was like, can we just do a phone call? The answer is almost always, oh, yes, thank God. Like, this idea or expectation that it's always, a FaceTime or on Zoom, that's become kind of normalized, for better or worse. And, there's pros and cons to that, but, I think, yeah, there's lots of ways you can go about it.
I personally found it when it became more than 3 screens, when it surpassed the phone, TV, and laptop. And that timeline that you gave where, that pandemic kind of borderline, that's where I found myself, almost yearning for this human interaction. And I just want to go play basketball. I just want to talk to someone, sit down, have a drink, hang out. And so I think that's when I reached my,
That
hey,
sounds right. That really rings true.
yeah. Like, can I get a puzzle? Can I? And I almost find myself fighting to like, oh, I need to, I want to read, but like I can't get my hands to just grab the book,
But reading
I
is
don't know.
fundamental.
I'm trying.
Emphasis on fun.
I'm trying, guys.
Maybe when you have another chore, you can second not screen it with the audiobook.
Steve hated the slow reader in class.
Maybe I shouldn't go there, but like, I just remember sitting in a circle and we're reading, and I would give notes to the other kids, where I'm like, no, it needs, I don't think I used the word inflection, but that's what I meant. Everybody hated me. Maybe with good reason, but I'm like, some things never change. It's still me, so I make no apologies.
Steve, we want to say thank you again, and like always, we can't wait till we see you again.
Well, that sounded enthusiastic. You might need to work on your delivery there.
Here, I'll do it.
Anyway, I'll see you guys later.
Thanks, Steve.
And as always, subscribe to the channel and be sure to download Firefox because it's the best. We'll see you next time.